I've got to go and check the air before we start here.
What?
Go on, check your body before we start.
No, you've just done it on the camera. Where are you going?
I thought to say.
You've been quite good on Twitter.
Have I?
I would if I was to summarise in an emoji, I'd do a little fire one.
You don't like drinking your over?
Never had it before.
You never had a bottle?
No.
You're losing points for being on the podcast every second.
Good.
Thanks for that input.
Before we get into the Villa, I had a bit of a...
It would be silly to start with Villa. Podcast. Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast with Tom Julian and myself, Dan Bardell. Another podcast, another win.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, and you were there.
I was there. It was lovely. I said to you on Monday, I think it was, I've sat in your seat before, but I didn't...
Have you? Where was I?
As in, sorry, I sat in your dad's seat. But where you are, like, you look right down the barrel of the pitch, and I don't think I'd appreciated what good seats
they are good. That's why I'll never give it up, and Ange knows that whatever happens in life, the season ticket will always be in place. Yeah. Always be in my name.
It was a pleasure to sit with your dad as well. We had a good chat. We were there at 1:45.
He does like to be early.
But always good to spend time with Dave, and good to see a win with him as well.
He's got to learn how to do selfies. The selfie of the two of you is just horrific. More so of him than you. It's just horrific.
We did it at 1:45, and it didn't come out till like 5:30.
Really?
Yeah, because the signal just didn't work for him.
He enjoyed sitting by you, he said.
It was great, and I was at one point I was quite scared because your dad's had a bit of back trouble.
Yeah.
And he sat down when Harahan scored, and then got up when Grealish scored, and I kind of went to celebrate.
Pretty much the opposite to everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to celebrate with him. Then I was like, oh no, he's back. Is he okay?
Did you protect him?
I tried to.
You said you were a good carer.
Well, I tried my best, but then abandoned him for fan cam. So,
yeah.
But no, great to be there. Great to see a win, and it was a good win. It was a hard-fought win in the end. Not the cleanest performance all round, but 3 points is all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, we weren't at our best, but I think in a way it's good to win a game when you're not at your best, isn't it? There's been games where we've said we deserve more there, we played well, and it hasn't come.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to get one when we haven't played well. Couple of worrying things, not worrying. A couple of things you're disappointed with. Obviously, I thought Brighton were outstanding, to be honest, especially with 10 men as well. Still, they're still passing the ball around so well. They've come on leaps and bounds under Potter. You can just see. That's why when managers like Bruce come in and they say, I haven't had time to get them playing in this way. Potter's been there exactly at the same time, and you just see the way that they're playing football. Reminded me a bit of when Lambert came in at Villa a little bit. We started trying to play football. It was so far away from Alex McLeish and what he was trying, and then inevitably Lambert ended up reverting back to Alex McLeish style football towards the end of his tenure. But you could just see that they've been working on stuff, and that to lose for them is the way they did is absolutely heartbreaking. But for us, I don't feel like we've ever been a team that scores last minute goals, but over the last season or so, we've started to be one of those teams, and it's great to be the right end of it.
Oh, 100%. Like we talked about it before in the close losses and the draws, and the fact that we can't close out games or we can't just nick those wins, they may be really important come the end of the season, and Brighton will have seen that as well as a point earned rather than 2 points dropped. But to lose all three is a massive blow for them. But really good, and like you say, we've kind of been on the wrong end of them. It's nice to be on the right end. Brighton started off pretty brightly. I think it was quite an open game. Morpay, who was obviously linked with Villa early on, looking lively, and you thought maybe he could do some damage.
Yeah, I said in the preview, didn't know that when someone's trying to implement a new philosophy and a new style, you can have those days where everything comes together, but you could also have those days where it just doesn't work at all. You've not been involved in playing that way long enough. You don't know what to do when certain situations arise. But it was the opposite to that. They were very good. They started like a house on fire. And Dean Smith said in his post-match they were passing between the lines too easily. They were getting through our midfield. To be fair, even with 10 men, they were getting through our midfield relatively easy, which is worrying going into Saturday. But they played nice football. And Maupay, you watch him now and you think, a lot of people wanted us to sign him in the summer. Yeah. Anyway, I wasn't sure for 20 million for someone that I thought would end up being backup. I wasn't sure about that, and I think in the end that was the same with Villa. They didn't want to spend that amount of money on someone that probably wasn't going to start every week.
Right.
But we missed that. I'm not saying that like Wesley shouldn't be starting or anything like that, but we missed that alternative. He was busy. He was buzzing around. He was actually kind of playing off Connolly a little bit. I thought I couldn't work out their formation in the first half.
Well, I think that's one of the strengths of Potter, isn't it? A bit like Villa, in that the kind of attacking line seems to be quite fluid, and they're moving around and working with each other. They all seem to know what's going on, but it causes a nightmare for opposing defence.
Because I was sat next to Dolan, and I kept saying to him, I was like, I cannot work out who's playing where for Brighton. They're just popping up everywhere, because they had 4 central midfield or 4 central players playing in a midfield 4, but they were just all popping up everywhere. Like Moy kept popping up on the left hand side. I thought before he got sent off, and I thought he was having a good game before his brain faded and he got himself sent off. But he kept drifting to the left hand side and causing us problems.
Well, Connolly as well, who we highlighted in the preview, had a snapshot. Mings blocks a shot, but only as far as Connolly, and he blazes it over the bar. And you think, that's a real opportunity for him, who would have been on a rich vein of form coming from that Spurs game as well.
They had a few chances. I thought they were proper. I mean, the one they did score off, we'll come on to, but I think they should have scored a couple from open play. Really, I think they had the chances. Good movement from the front two, and we found it hard to deal with them. I think we started to compose ourselves a little bit after they scored, but certainly before they went 1-0 up, that they were the better team, and it felt like the goal was coming.
Yeah, Wesley has a half chance just before their goal, where Gilbert kind of puts a shot/cross in, and Ryan, who I thought had a bit of a shaky start to the game, spills this ball where he should kind of keep it in, and Wesley's there, but he just can't quite get his shot off. He's on the turn, and I think it catches him a bit by surprise. But you're right, then the blow comes, and we're going to talk about David Coates, the referee, because he had a very, very poor game, in my opinion. I think from the first minute there was a challenge. Aaron Moy, I think, went through maybe McGinn on the left hand side, and it's a foul, but there's no card, and you kind of think, well, it's first foul, whatever. But then Harahan gives away what Coates judges to be Villa's real first foul of the game, and he gets booked straight away.
I mean, I have a few issues with that. One, I don't think it was a foul at all, and I've seen it back. There's no way on earth that's a foul.
Yeah,
it's just not.
I couldn't
and it's
see
certainly
it.
not a yellow card.
I couldn't see it from where we were, but I watched it back, and I just thought it was a nothing challenge. It was a challenge.
So I was sat with Dolan in the Trinity, and we were in the top tier, near the whole end. But I could see from where I was straight away that it just isn't a foul, and you can tell by Connor's reaction.
Yeah,
it's not a foul, and for him to just pull the yellow card straight out, it felt like a rash refereeing performance. Like, he didn't give himself time, like you would, as a referee, you would say, he didn't give himself time to think. He just pulls it out straight away without even thinking. It's definitely not worse than the challenge that's just happened on McGinn 5 minutes earlier or whenever it was. It just isn't a foul.
I totally agree with that. I think it was, even if Coates judges it to be a foul, I thought the decision, like you say, was rash to book him straight away. And in the end, the free kick that they score from, well, that is the free kick that they score from. And Villa are 1-0 down before you know it.
I mean, I don't condone our defending for that. It was poor. He was so free.
Yes,
it was ridiculous, really. How free. It's a nice ball in, but the way we've defended that set piece makes it easy for them. I think is that the first goal we've conceded from a set piece this season. I can't recall another one. I don't think we've scored one.
No,
from a set piece either, but. He's just completely free.
Well,
I mean, to be fair, there were some big boys in the box.
But he's free from the start. It's like Mings has got two guys at the back post, and just nobody ever picks up Webster, and he just kind of drifts in around the back and essentially overflies Mings.
He did.
And Webster's there, and it's a fairly comfortable header for him. He does well to put it past Heaton from that angle, but
it's a good header.
There's no challenge.
It kind of felt like as well that we just, I didn't see anyone screaming at each other or going mad. It was almost just like they just accepted that they were going to score.
Yeah.
It was weird. We didn't look organised from that free kick, but the facts remain, and it's a fact in my opinion. Shouldn't be happening because it shouldn't be happening because we should defend it better, but it shouldn't be happening because it's just not a foul.
No, I agree.
It's never been a foul.
I've got in the notes here, refereeing inconsistent throughout. It was just
it's not even inconsistent, it's abject.
It was poor. The whole day, Coates, I think, made some wrong decisions, and I said to your dad, and I kind of immediately thought afterwards, this is a stupid thing to say, but his card management was very poor. That's
what I said. He was rash, not giving himself time to think.
The Moy time wasting thing, I think, was a booking, and Moy will look at himself there and go, "What a stupid decision for himself to make. So I actually think Coots made the right decision there, but he could have been booked earlier than that. I think there was a couple of other challenges that were pretty hefty. And then we'll get onto the VAR thing as well, but the whole refereeing day was just a bit of a shambles.
But at the moment, 80%, 70% of the games at Villa, that's what we seem to be talking about. I thought the Championship referees were bad. And in the 3 years we were away from the Premier League, I obviously came on here and I said, I'm not going to lie to referees.
Yeah.
VAR's just added a whole different dimension to it. That's a farce. But some of the referees, they are essentially Championship referees. David Coote is a Championship referee, in my opinion.
He was he fourth official or was he VAR, I think, running the VAR for the Manchester United game?
This is what I don't get. Because Atkinson, who reffed that game, is the VAR for Villa's game on Saturday, and then they do a role reversal on a Sunday. Just pals. Just old pals act. Although the VAR this week for us is, I think it's the only time it's happened in the Premier League this season. I mean, I will get onto it. It bewilders me. Well, the whole thing bewilders me.
Let's carry on. Aaron Connolly has a great chance to put Brighton 2-0 up. Heaton makes a really smart save. And again, it's Morpay in the build-up to that, laying a lovely little ball through. Aaron Connolly gets behind our defence and Heaton's very quick. And for me, he's just been an outstanding buy. And I love Jed Steer. Fair play to him for sticking at it, and hopefully we'll see him against Wolves in the Carabao Cup as well.
Definitely see him against Wolves.
But Heaton has been another level, and he's been so important for us.
He's a class goalkeeper, and he's an experienced head. You can see him. I think his second half target was lying down on the floor. Like, to be honest, I think he was knackered.
Yeah.
Lying down on the floor, and Heaton's absolutely rollicking him, saying, "Get up, get up." Heaton's a leader. Wouldn't surprise me if at some stage in some game you end up seeing him with the armband, because he was the Burnley captain, wasn't he? He's a smart signing. I could see why Burnley let him go, because they've got a younger goalkeeper in Pope who is a good goalkeeper, but there's just something about Heaton I've always liked since Burnley have been in the Premier League. I've always thought he's a great shot stopper. He makes himself massive. He's a vocal presence and a leader. He's just a great goalkeeper. Except for the Bournemouth game in his home debut, his decision making pretty good as well. He's just a fantastic goalkeeper and a real good bit of business from us.
I think it was good business for both sides, like you say.
Yeah, it made sense, didn't it?
Burnley have Pope, and they're looking to the future with him, which is fine and great.
Pope's about 26, 27.
Yeah, but still
young for a goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's still got potentially 10 years in you. And then and from a Villa standpoint, he's not that expensive. Like you say, he adds that leadership, that experience, and he's shown that throughout. I feel like the Mings, Engels, Heaton triad has been a
nice word.
I don't know if it's right, but has been a real
triad, a gang.
Is it? Well, that kind of works.
I think so, yeah.
I don't mind that. But those three then just breed confidence into the rest of the team, and you can see from our forward midfield play that they're not worried about the fact that the defensive side isn't going to be covered. You know, they're happy to push on because they know that there's enough cover in the defence.
Yeah, I mean I think Mark Jarobe, I definitely said his name wrong. He said something about Jarobe.
He told me off.
He did, yeah, he's Jarobe. He did a tweet about Tom Heaton after the game saying what a good game he had. And it's something that probably, I may not have even thought to say had it not been for that tweet, but it did go a little bit unnoticed. That is a good save. Like, he's so quick off his line, so quick.
For me, he's like, he's not going to get Player of the Year, but he's a.
Can't wait till May when he gets Player of the Year.
Well, that'd be great.
We can pull that back up.
That'd be great. But I mean, there's so many players that are playing really well at the moment, and obviously McGinn, Grealish, Mings get the headlines most weeks. But Heaton is he's really consistent, and he's. I don't want to say underrated because I think Villa fans do appreciate what he's doing, but. His quality and his important saves, like the one against Connolly, sometimes go under the radar.
He's a bit like a goalkeeping Gareth Barry. You pretty much always get a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, or a Milner. Yeah,
makes sense.
No, that's right. So then Aaron Moy, after about 35 minutes, heads for an early shower. He takes down Grealish in a really stupid challenge. Kind of comes through the back of him. Definite foul, definite booking. And Moy, you see on the pitch, has no arguments for it.
No, and we've had like 3 games now where we've played against 10 men, and I'd probably say. I think one of them was the West Ham one was a little bit harsh. Was it the West Ham one that we thought was a little bit harsh? But in the main, we've been coming in here complaining against referees and VAR, and there've been some terrible decisions against us. But you can only say what you see. But I think that is a red card.
Yeah, I was on the train home with a few Brighton fans, and they were talking about the red card, and they thought that the Moy the first booking, they thought that was harsh.
Silly, it's rules.
It is the rules, essentially.
He's got no need to do it.
He shouldn't have done it. It was his own fault, and they had no complaints, I think, with the second one. But like you said earlier, they were quite happy with how Moy was playing, and he was involved in a lot, and that was a massive blow for them.
Yeah, as I say, popping up everywhere. He was having a good game. It's so silly to get yourself sent off in that situation.
He's busy, isn't he? He's a busy player. I don't watch a huge amount of Brighton, but it felt like he's a kind of engine that they needed, and he kind of galvanises the team and then pushes everybody forward.
He's kind of one of those players that's a bit more energetic and gets around the pitch more than you think he would. Like, he doesn't look like he'd be that kind of player.
Yeah.
But he's got a good eye for a pass as well. He's just a good player. He was good for Huddersfield, to be fair.
Yeah.
For a few years.
Well, he was the one that really drove them and got them up, wasn't he? I remember him being one of their talismanic players, and very young, I think, at that stage.
Yeah, it's a smart signing for Brighton, I think.
I said to your dad at the time, I was like, I feel like Villa are going to get over their 10-man curse, if you like, because Potter was quite new. I thought they might lose their shape a little bit, or kind of not really work out, but it wasn't to be. Brighton,
didn't happen at all, did it?
They continued to be solid, and not just solid, but go forward when they had their chances.
Yeah, all day I was saying to Dolan, the left back, Dan Burn, the big 6'6", like, he's a centre back. He was playing left back.
He's a monster.
And I was thinking, just get at him. He can't be that comfortable on the ball. He's not going to be that good on the ball. We should be able to get past him pace as well. And we didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't. And I kind of felt like that with all Brighton's players, that they're not necessarily household names or big names, but they knew what they were doing, both defensively and on the ball. I quite like that. Obviously, the English managers over the last few years, or the British managers, there's been obviously the complaints of people like Pardew, Allardyce. They always Bruce. They always get the jobs. You know what you're going to get. All that jazz. You've now got this kind of new breed of English manager like Smith and Potter that they play a different way. They're kind of going against the grain of what an English manager is supposed to be, and I think it's really refreshing and really good to see. And it's good to see these teams just having a go in the Premier League. I mean, we'll go to City on Saturday, and fair enough, we might end up getting stuff, but you know what? We won't go there and defend. We'll have a go and try and cause them problems on the break, I think. So I think it's really refreshing that there's these young English managers, and I think there's probably some raised eyebrows at Potter coming in at Brighton. He kind of, I think last season would have been a difficult season for Swansea. They had to cut costs,
massively,
cut the wage bill, and they were flying high in the Championship this season, to be fair. But he did probably an understated and underrated job at Swansea, and he's gone to Brighton. And you can just see he's got a philosopher, and I respect that.
Absolutely. Well, so Villa then equalised through Conor Harahan, and it's a lovely strike. The ball kind of falls to him. It's good work, from Wesley, and then it's laid out to Harahan, and he buries it. Really nice finish. Crowd erupts. 1-1. Then we see.
Oh, and it takes so long. It takes so long.
It is such an ugly system, and one of the first goal to be like that's so contentious, I think, to have been overturned, and it just muddies the waters even further with VAR that they could overturn that, because Coots has a perfect view of it. It's not clear. It's not. It's not
obvious.
It's not clear and obvious. That's exactly right. And yet Atkinson or whoever it is, the team decide that. Actually, no, David Coots, you haven't seen it right. We're going to overturn it, and Coots hasn't seen it again, so he just goes along with it. What's wrong with it?
What in that instance happens if he has seen it?
Yeah.
So we know he's seen it. He's decided it's fine. Can he then go against the VAR and say, well, no, I've seen it, I think it's fine?
I have no idea. It'd be really interesting. So I'm going to use two other sport examples. Please forgive me.
It's not going to be NFL, is it, Tom?
One of them might be. But in the NFL, the referee's mic'd up, so everyone, the decision is explained. And plus in the NFL, and with I think it was in the World Cup, the Football World Cup, the referee actually went over to the screen and watched it again. And I know some people had issue with that slowed it down. But surely
Champions League as well last season.
Yeah, maybe that was it. But surely that's better that the referee gets to see it again, gets to see the replay and make the decision on his own, not just take what Atkinson's heard. Because Atkinson's just one referee, Coots is another. Like, let the guy do his job. Like, I get it with offside, where even if it's an inch, and I know people are annoyed with that as well, but at least that's clear.
Yeah.
This is so ambiguous, so contentious that you can't just make that decision on because it's one person's judgment against another. It doesn't make any sense.
I've got no problem with the offside. Like the Burnley one the other week when it got disallowed, I had no problem with that. They're the rules. It's offside, but I said at the time. But then if that's getting called, I expect other VAR calls to go our way. Like I expect them to look at the handball at Arsenal.
Yeah.
How is that Arsenal handball one not a clear and obvious error, but this one on Saturday is?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
It's infuriating.
And Villa weren't the only ones this weekend. Obviously, the Spurs game, the Manchester United game, VAR is constantly in the headlines for the wrong reasons. And I was quite supportive of VAR.
I was looking forward to it.
But I don't think it's the technology that's the problem. I think it's the way that they're putting it into place. And I think the refereeing body needs to look at itself and go...
Are you part of that body?
I wish I was.
Oh, no, you just remember.
I'm just like knocking on the door, they won't let me in. They just need to have a look at themselves and work it out, because VAR has been used successfully in other parts of the world. It was relatively successful, I think, in the World Cup. There are better uses of it, and it seems that the Premier League is making balls up of it.
I mean, you've already said this to be fair to you, but all it's doing now is adding. So it used to be a referee made a bad decision.
Yeah.
You'd hammer the referee if it was wrong.
Yeah.
He's had one look at it. That's it.
Yeah.
You've now got this thing where you go into VAR for another guy to have an opinion. I said a clown in a booth, which is a little bit rich for me to be saying. I said on Saturday at half time when I was frustrated on Twitter. It's now going to another clown in a booth to say, well, actually, I think that was a foul. The ref hasn't given it, but I think that was a foul. But we've been saying for weeks they won't overrule their mates.
Yeah.
And then on the most innocuous one, probably innocuous decision has been since VAR has been introduced in the Premier League, Martin Atkinson decides, I want a piece of this.
Also,
I'll be the first one to overrule my mate.
The other example is the Rugby World Cup and rugby in general. The communication again between the TMO and the referee. We get to hear that as fans. Certainly on the television, you get to hear that, and it's so clear, and the explanation is so good, and they take their time. This felt very quick.
I think the opposite. I felt like the goal that we scored, I was celebrating. It didn't even occur to me that we'd go to VAR. It clearly didn't occur to any of the Villa players that we'd go to VAR, because they were all all celebrating. Everyone's chuffed. The crowd's delighted. The players are delighted. Dean Smith and the coaching staff will be delighted. And then we've gone back to basically restart the game, and suddenly you realise he's looking at it.
But I think if you watch the referee in the replay, it's quite quick that it goes to VAR, and in the grand scheme of things, I think it's only 20, 30 seconds or something like that. And it just, whereas the stops in rugby, and again, I know this frustrates people, and maybe that's why the system doesn't work, but they take a minute. The whole thing is explained. You see about 6 different replays of it, and then the communication is so clear. Now, I don't know if that's a better system or not, because it does slow the game down. And
I'd rather it be right.
If you're going to do it, you might as well do it right.
Very few games we've had this season where we have not come in here and we've spoke about the referee or VAR, and it sounds like we're biased, and I don't think we are being. But the games that have gone well, you think of Everton at home and Norwich away. We didn't have any issues, and we won those games. It does feel, and I know there's not, but it does feel like there's a vendetta against Villa, because they're not. Some of them aren't even contentious. The Crystal Palace one's a joke.
Yeah.
The referee's just not followed procedural protocol.
Or he just acted too quickly, yeah.
Yeah, again, rash refereeing, not thinking about what he's doing, not doing his job properly, in my opinion, then. If you're rash, that you're not doing your job properly.
Well, I was scared that was going to happen with the Grealish through ball to Target when he goes down. And to be fair to Coots, there's 2 times, I think, where he plays the advantage on, because Grealish goes down the wing as well and then gets a cross in. But yeah, sorry, you're right.
So, the Arsenal one... That is a handball every day. Like, his arm is here.
Yeah.
I mean, that audio, again, no one can see me.
But everyone knows,
Everyone's seen it enough times. His arm is here. He sticks it out to block the shot. He goes to VAR. And he looks at the VAR guy, and says, ooh, that's not a clear and obvious error. But then how can someone look at Saturday and say that's a clear and obvious error? It was even like a half-hearted appeal for a foul at the time from the Brighton goalkeeper, right? And it wasn't like he was going mad that he was fouled. Even when the goal went in, it wasn't like they were saying there was a foul in the build-up. There was a foul in the build-up.
Yeah.
It's baffling, frustrating, and it's ruining the game. I mean, I don't know. Have you been at a game this season where VAR's
Not that was my
like that's
first.
happened, right? Yeah. So that's 2 home games in a row. And as I say, except the Burnley decision, because it's the correct decision. Where I've celebrated a goal hard, the moments that you're there for. You're there at a football match for those moments.
Yeah.
And then pretty much 5-10 minutes later, we've scored in both those games. I've not really celebrated because you just feel like it's going to get taken away again. Something will have happened in the build-up.
Yeah, so we're going to come on to the Grealish goal now, because a few minutes later, kind of justice, if you like, is done, where Gilbert puts a lovely inch
Not
perfect.
justice though, is it? Because
Hang on, because that goal doesn't go in if the Harahan goal isn't
I get that.
cancelled. But anyway, so Gilbert puts his lovely inch perfect cross in. Grealish is on the end of it, and it feels like it takes an age to go in for one. But then there's a kind of a muted cheering.
I didn't even celebrate.
Yeah, where everybody's just like, oh, and then obviously the swearing VAR chants come out, and it's not about the goal anymore. It's about how stupid the VAR system is, and it just takes, like you say, you go to the games for those moments, and a little bit of that is taken away.
I didn't really celebrate Targett's goal because, again, I'm unsure what's going to be looked at. How far back are they going to go? The ball's been in play a long time there. Has something happened in the build-up that I've not seen and that the referee's missed? My other problem with VAR is, so we've had a goal disallowed that, in my opinion, your opinion, we don't think should have been disallowed.
Yeah.
I know they don't look at this, but the goal they've scored has come from a foul that's not a foul. So between the referee and the VAR, it does just feel like they're all out to get us.
Yeah.
Why can they go back and have a look at the foul on the goalkeeper for the goal? Why, when the ball goes in from the free kick, why can't they go back and have a look at that and say that wasn't a foul?
Well, they could look at it before the free kick's taken.
You know what? I bet they're sat there when that decision gets made. I bet they do look at it. I bet they go back and have a look in the VAR booth in Stockley Park. I don't even know if it is a booth, and I've suddenly christened it a booth. Just assume everything's a booth.
Booth glory, yeah.
Is this even a booth? I'm starting to question.
Whole life is a booth.
Like, they'll be looking at that, and they'll have been able to go back and say, oh, that wasn't a foul. But why can't they go back and change that decision?
I think you then get into and I know what you're going to say to this, I think you get into the point where you're looking at every decision.
No, I'm not saying.
But
I'm saying only when it's gone in.
Right,
because that's in the lead up to the goal still.
But
the foul is the lead up into the goal.
What would make more sense though is that they look at that decision and they act before the free kick is taken. Like, you look at the free kick is given, and then Atkinson goes, actually, David, I don't think that was a free kick. And then
it's all like that, Mike.
I don't know. I just assume. But then Villa get the uncontested drop ball, and the game carries on. But then you're into a point of no return, aren't you, where every foul is going to be VAR appealed or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
I get that, but what I'm saying is you don't have to look at it unless something comes from it.
But what's the point? That to me is a waste of time.
No, it's not. Because that goal would have been disallowed if they'd have said that wasn't a foul.
Yeah, but if it's not a foul, then why bother going through the rigmarole of taking?
Because I don't think you can go through and look at everything, every single little decision.
To me, that's just
what's the difference in that?
Waste of time.
That foul has led to a team scoring, which is a mistake.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying in terms of why the Harahan goal was chalked off. The ultimate thing is, I think the Harahan goal being chalked off was the wrong decision, and therefore that shouldn't have been the one that was viewed by VAR, and therefore you shouldn't be looking at every foul. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise you're in real trouble.
They do look at every goal. Every goal they will go back and see.
Well, they look at every decision, mate. I think that's the thing. As in, they're watching every decision. They don't necessarily intervene on every decision. What I'm saying is we get into a wormhole here of every decision.
I don't know whether I'm putting my point across as well as I could be. I know what I mean, but I think I'm struggling to get it across.
I think I know what you mean too, but I don't agree.
But then the next day as well in the Man U game, they go back and look at the lead up to Rashford's goal.
Yeah.
Again, you could say that was a foul, but they don't overrule the referee. But the day before at Villa Park, well, let's overrule the referee. And Dean Smith said that's the only time that's happening. Dean Smith's going to get a fine. Probably.
So I've got Dean Smith's quote here. For that to be the first subjective decision I've seen just threw me totally. The criteria is clear and obvious, and that wasn't clear and obvious. And unless I missed a memo over the international break, then nothing has changed. It's disappointing that we scored a winner with 10 seconds to go, and you can't really celebrate because you've got to wait for the process of VAR, which takes an awful lot of the fun out. There may have been a riot there if that had been disallowed at the end. And he's right, isn't he?
But it wouldn't have surprised me if it had been disallowed for something.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have surprised you either, would it?
No, it wouldn't. And I think, the Premier League, there's no getting away from it. They have to look at the system because
they can't look at it mid-season, though, can they? They'll get looked at the end of the season.
That, again, seems like red tape that's pointless.
I'm going to go against you here.
Right.
I kind of understand that because you've done 9 games that way. You can't then move the goalpost for the.
But they've done 9 games what way? They're doing it all different ways.
Yeah,
That doesn't make any sense. Plus, you've got an international break, haven't you? So, if you're going to introduce something at the international break, you've got time to brief the referees or whatever. I don't know. It's not a perfect system. It's his first year, and it's not. This is not to say that we didn't expect there to be some teething issues, but this is way beyond that. There is so many issues with it, and such a range of issues that it has to be looked at. Let's get away from VAR.
Connor must hate VAR.
Yeah.
That's an assist taken away at Burnley, a blatant handball from his shot at Arsenal and a goal.
Yeah.
It's out to game, isn't it?
It must be going for him because, one, at the very rawest end, financial rewards of goals and assists.
Goal bonus.
is pretty big. And 2, this is his first season as a Premier League player. You're taking away his goals, taking away his assists. That's a blow to
He's trying to keep himself in the team as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lovely strike.
Yeah, great strike.
It's got a hell of a lot of power in it, but it's quite a measured strike.
That's beautiful.
I would say. My mate Steve was saying to me he's never thought Connor was a bad player, but he's never understood why I think he's so good. But he said since towards the end of last season and this season, he gets it now, and he says he just makes an impact when he's on the pitch.
Well, he's
good for a goal and he's good for an assist, which is a massive thing.
Yeah.
It's a massive thing.
We're not allowed to talk about Harahan anymore, except early in the second half, he has a great chance as well.
Yeah, he should score.
He drives it low, and I think it's deflected.
Took a nick.
Yeah, so Ryan's equal to it. But El Ghazi on the follow-up, El Ghazi's got to be doing better with that.
It's rash, isn't it, from El Ghazi?
We had a couple of rash shots.
It went high as well. It didn't just miss.
Yeah.
It went high. We've said loads of times Winger's inconsistent. He didn't have his best day. On Saturday, there was a few of them didn't have their best day. Like I said, there was a few of them at the end who looked like they were running on fumes. But we got over the line. El Ghazi and Trezeguet, probably much of a muchness at the moment to who plays. I'd probably go El Ghazi because I think, in a similar way to Connor, I think he's good for a goal and an assist.
There was a couple of questions on that, whether you go for Trezeguet because of the pace and whether that causes more issues to Man City. But you think El Ghazi's creativity is going to stand him in the starting lineup?
The trouble is with Trezeguet at the moment, I feel like he's blowing after an hour every game.
Right.
I feel like he's not fit enough. That's just an observation. I don't know how true that is. The Villa staff will know better than me whether that's true. But Arsenal, I remember this, to be fair, he had a lot of the ball at the Emirates, but he just looked like he was blowing from about the 35th minute, Trezeguet, and that's the impression I've got with him most weeks. I really like him. I think he's going to be a fantastic acquisition for us. But I just think maybe he's taken a while to get up to speed with the rigours of the league.
So El Ghazi blows one over the bar, and then not long later, McGinn does the same. It's great work from Grealish on the left-hand side. He manages to stay on his feet. He gets a little knock, and I think the Brighton defenders are already putting their hands up, going, "Oh, he's died or whatever." Grealish carries on, pulls it back for McGinn, and again, McGinn, a bit uncharacteristically, loses his head and blasts it over.
He looked tired. He didn't have his best game. McGinn, he was still like
busy.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, bordering to good, but he just didn't. He looked tired. He looked really tired from about an hour in. I thought McGinn, he's had a lot of travelling in the week, internationals and stuff, and he'll be back with an abundance of energy on Saturday, I'm sure. But it was kind of one of those frustrating days, and it felt like it was going to be a frustrating day. Brighton curtailed us quite well. They kept bringing on big defenders, and another centre back kept coming on, another defender kept coming on, and you thought, we're just not going to break them down, are we?
Yeah. And what did you make of Villa subs though? Because Harahan comes off for Trezeguet, and I'm sitting there with your dad, and I'm like, well, El Ghazi's coming off. That makes total sense.
The opposite. I thought that would be the sort.
Really?
He's on a booking. Is one thing.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And I just think he wanted to get Grealish in the middle.
Right.
I feel like I know Grealish is playing from the left at the moment. I think he's working really well, but I just get the impression that long term, both Jack and Dean Smith, they want to get him back in the middle. That's just a feeling I get.
I'm not totally surprised by that because it is working so well. Do you think that's?
But it's so much better with him on the left.
Yeah.
We look so much better as a team.
Like we talked about earlier, it's really difficult for defences to line up and work out who's marking whom because it's so fluid.
Well, we haven't. I mean, yeah, you'll see a number of times Connor's out on the left wing and Jack's come inside. It just comes down to game intelligence and knowing when you've got to cover your mate. It's a similar way to. If your fullback's gone and you're a winger and you drop in, it's just game intelligence. And I think there's enough players on there that are game intelligent to do things like that.
Yeah.
But I just think, why would you? I don't want to change it because why would you change it? It's working so well. Since we've gone that way, we haven't lost.
Right.
So, as I say, I think the long-term ambition for both will be to get him back in the middle, but keep him out there.
Yeah.
Because he's working.
Yeah, don't fix.
And
what's not broken.
We've not really spoke about him that much so far, which is amazing, 35 minutes in. I thought, and this is going to be a big statement, I was one of the best individual performances I've ever seen from a Villa player.
Yeah.
I thought he was absolutely phenomenal.
It was great. I mean, we were going to come on to it, but Dean Smith says on Grealish it was a captain's performance. For the other side of the game, people don't see Jack ran 60 yards to back dispossessed players. He was integral to everything. He got the goal and provided an assist. All in all, he was really good. And really good just doesn't quite do it justice.
10 out of 10. That's the only way I can describe him. He was just 10 out of 10.
He caused them so much grief, didn't he, all day?
Anytime any Villa player had the ball, especially in the last 10-15 minutes, it was like, where's Jack? Get the ball to Jack, because he was just unplayable. Goal and assist doesn't really do him justice. It's a good ratio to have a goal and assist at the end of a game. But I just thought he was absolutely outstanding, and I thought that's when I watched that game and I thought, right, he's in the England squad next game. Southgate's there. He's got to be seeing this and seeing how good he is.
Yeah.
And it seems like everyone has cottoned on to how good he is now. There's been various ex-managers and ex-pros on TalkSport talking about him this week. There's just nobody like him.
Well, the stats are saying that he's the most informed player in the Premier League. Have you seen this?
Yeah, last six games he's the most informed. And McGinn's third.
Yeah, and then Target got in there as well, I think.
I didn't think Target had a good game on Saturday. Well, he popped up with the winner.
I thought he was good going forward. There was a couple of times where he gets caught out, but again, he's quite involved in a lot of our attacks because Jack is so involved on the left-hand side. Target's often there kind of either getting the ball to Jack or kind of being an option. He does a lot of running, I think, that possibly goes unnoticed to draw players out.
Well, Jack ended up back on the left, didn't he? Because we moved into the middle and then we made another sub.
Yeah.
Will Louise came on, so it ended up that Jack had to go back to the left. So he's obviously more effective there because we've made a sub to put him in the middle and then realised, actually, let's get him back to the left.
Yeah. He's
a lovely, lovely footballer. So good to watch. I absolutely love watching him. I can't get enough of watching him. I mean, you'll know, and anyone who follows me on social media, that I saw him after the game.
Yeah.
I'd had a few beers, and I don't know whether to tell the one bit of the story, but I said to him, "You were absolutely unreal today," and I think he knew I think he knew he had a good game.
I thought you were going to tell us what else you said to him.
No, I'm coming on to it, Tom. Let's get the football out of the way. So then, I don't like having photos, but I just thought he's had such a good game. Dolan's already asked him for a photo. I'm gonna have a photo with him as well. And not only is he a lovely footballer, he's one of the most sensational smelling people I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
And I said to him, Jack, you smell sensational.
And I mean, you do a podcast with me every week.
I mean, I'd describe your smell as nothing. Maybe a bit of Lynx, I'm not.
Lynx Africa.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but honestly, I don't want to get onto the smelling thing too much, but he did smell unbelievable. And it's not really something you should say to someone. I've met him a few times, to be fair, so I think he knows me enough and he found it funny.
Yeah.
But the way he played on Saturday, it reminded me that there was games back under John Gregory where it felt like just everyone was looking for Paul Merson, give the ball to Paul Merson. And they're different types of players, although they're both Villa number 10s. I genuinely think that was one of the best performances I've ever seen from an individual, and I've probably been to, I don't know how many games I would have been to. I've been to a lot of games.
Yeah.
I've been out of season tickets since I was 7 and I'm 34 now, so I've seen a lot of football. I just think he was absolutely unreal.
I was going to mention Paul Merson when you were talking about him earlier and talking about individual performances, and like you say, it's not a direct comparison. But I always said when we were in the Championship, and people were like, Grealish, is he any good? Why do Villa fans keep pushing him? And I was like, he's the closest thing to a Paul Gascoigne or that kind of player. And at that level, he wasn't quite at Paul Gascoigne level. Paul Gascoigne was sensational. But Grealish is playing in that way, and he's so
struggling there.
Orchestrative. I don't know. He runs the game.
Backed yourself into a corner.
He's complete. When it formulated in my head, I knew I was in trouble.
We've all been there.
But he runs a game like nobody else. Like you say, everybody's looking for him. He has this great relationship with McGinn that goes beyond the pitch as well. And he's able to bring players in. He knows where players are. And it's just like a sixth sense, essentially, that he's going to find the right pass or get a shot off.
I don't think I ever saw Gaz alive except towards the end of his career when he might have been at Middlesbrough and Everton. I probably did see him, but he was gone by then.
Right.
Wasn't he? I've not seen anyone carry the ball the way he does. He's close control. But you just can't get the ball off him without fouling him.
Yeah,
people just can't. And like you say, people have been slating Villa fans for years for saying how good he is. And to be honest, there was a point when we first started doing the Villa View, and I remember coming on a show and saying, I think this was before your time, and saying this guy could be the best player in the Championship, and I got laughed at. People were saying, "Oh, what does this guy know? Bloody hell, he's talking absolute rubbish."
and I mean, usually that's right.
No. no. I've always believed in him, and I've always thought this guy's going to be a superstar. He's going to play for England. It's taken a little bit longer than I thought it would, but you've got your Mounts and your Maddisons, your Ross Barkleys in the England squad at the moment, and I think Madison especially deserved a call up, although he ended up leaving the squad. He deserved a call up because he's been consistent in the Premier League for over a season now. Yeah. Jack's going to get a place in the England squad, and once he's in there, like Tyrone, you won't get him out. You will not get him out of that squad because the other players will realise how good he is. And as soon as he steps on that pitch in an England shirt, he's just going to come alive because that's who he is. Yeah. He's going to be a superstar. Maybe not quite to these levels, but I genuinely think in terms of personality and becoming like a household popular guy across the board, he's going to be a David Beckham, I think.
Right.
Maybe not to that extreme. I don't see him owning a football club one day, Jack. But I actually think he's going to be an absolute superstar, and I think this is probably just the beginning of his journey because the whole country's going to fall in love with him.
Marshy DS, was dropping down to the Championship for his formative years good for Grealish in the end? I think that's a great question. You know, he's kind of... Everything kind of came so quickly for Jack, and there was obviously the holidays and the kind of England-Ireland debate, and there was a lot of pressure and a lot of people telling him things, I'm sure. A very tough time for a young footballer. Then it doesn't go so well in the club, and obviously he gets injured and that kind of thing. He's had a few seasons in the Championship where he's really honed his craft. But more than that, and I think we've talked about this before, he's honed his professionalism, and maybe he needed that opportunity to prove himself, to really bring out the best in him.
I mean, I felt at the start of the season, I didn't think he looked fit enough. I was thinking he's getting to 70, 80 minutes, like we've said a few times about a few players, and he's not able to impact the game because he's knackered. On Saturday, he had looked like he could go another 90. To me, he just had boundless energy. Like Smith said, he was tracking back to get the ball, and everything came through. I think he had 2 wasted seasons at Villa. So he had his breakthrough season or end of season under Tim Sherwood. Then we had the Remy Gard season where Remy Gard didn't like him. Jack didn't like Remy Gard. There's an interview with Gabby yesterday. I don't know whether you saw it.
I've got it in the notes.
Gabby definitely didn't like Remy Gard either, did he?
No.
Well, apparently no one did, according to Gabby. And he was just a wasted season. We were absolute garbage anyway. I'm not sure how good him being on the pitch would have been for him, playing with the likes of Lescott and etc. First season in the Championship was a little bit of a write-off as well. He started the season reasonably well, but again he lost his place, and people were saying this kid's not going to make it. Had an unbelievable season when he recovered from his kidney injury to take us to the playoff final, and obviously we lost. Now, you thought then this guy's at a good level, but his level's beyond that now. Last season he added goals and assists to his game because that's always been a criticism of him. No. Although I don't think that's necessarily a way to measure a player fully, because you can just see the impact he has all over the pitch in the way he carries the ball, and he's involved in everything. And this season now he's doing it in the Premier League, the form player in the Premier League at the moment. It's just sensational. Yeah, unbelievable to see.
Totally agree. I think we talked about it last year with the kidney injury and just having that time and a serious injury that kept him out for 3.5 months or whatever it was. And obviously then he comes back and leads Villa to 10 in a row, and that injury potentially is the making of him. And I don't know Jack Grealish personally at all, but I'd like to think that he had his kind of young time, and he was growing and he's learning. Then he has that serious injury, and it's kind of like wow, okay, football comes and goes. You've got to take it seriously. And now he's just, like you say, a level beyond. He's just stepped it up once more.
I've used the word superstar. He's heading towards superstar level. I think he's just he could go global. I genuinely just think he's that good. And I think, like you say, talk about that injury. I think Ollie Stevenson, the fitness and conditioning coach, like he was as a young player played with Jack at Villa in the academy, so they were good friends. Having him there, I think, has been good for him. I don't know whether you saw the piece in the Athletic where Grealish basically goes to train in the morning, has a sleep for a few hours at Bodymore, and then he goes out and does fitness and conditioning work and works on part of his game. I think Ollie Stevenson's been unbelievable. For Jack, it's been a real key influence, and they say about having good people around you, and I think having him, who's his mate, but he's also like a strength, fitness and conditioning coach, I think he's probably played a massive part in what's happened to Jack, because he's a specimen as well.
Yeah,
absolute specimen.
No, it's great. It's great to see. So at this point in the game, we're still 1-1,
finished,
and Villa are really pushing. Targett puts a wasted free kick over the bar. Keenan Davis shows his strength, kind of holds off the defenders.
I thought Davis was a funny one when he came on.
As a snapshot,
he looked like moderately effective, but also at times his touch was so off.
I thought he looked a bit out of his depth, to be honest. This was the highlight
when he first came on.
Yeah. And Villa are kind of pushing, but I mean, credit to Brighton, they still had their kind of counter chances. They weren't. They basically found holes behind Villa pushing up so high, and they tried to exploit it the best they could. Essentially, nothing came from it. But there were worrying times where you think Brighton could nick this.
I thought they were just as likely to score as we were. To be honest, I thought the game was petering out. Dolan kept saying to me, there'll be one more chance. And by the third or fourth time he'd said it, I kept thinking no, there's not going to be Dolan.
Yeah.
It's not coming, it's just not happening, and then boom.
Well, they've left it very, very late, 94th, 95th minute. Again, it's Grealish in the build-up, does excellent work to kind of stay on his feet and lay the pass through. Very reminiscent of the Palace, where he gets booked for diving,
that just highlights again how ridiculous that Palace decision was.
So, fair play to Coots, lets the play go. Matty Targett, I don't know if he's surprised that the ball's come through to him, but he does make this lovely little run in behind. And it's a smart finish, but I kind of think Ryan should do better, isn't he?
I thought it was bad goalkeeping.
Yeah.
I said it was bad goalkeeping straight away, and Dolan was like, "No, it's gone in far post. It's a great finish." I was like, "I don't think it did.
No,
I think it might have gone near post."
Yeah,
and I mean, to be fair to Target, he's hit the target.
Yep.
And that's all you ask in that situation, because it's not a great angle to get a shot away, especially for someone who's not. I don't imagine he scored many goals in his career.
No, Smith said that.
Matt Targett. But the good thing is, I didn't think he had a good game. I think in the other games he's been exceptional that he's played, but I didn't think he had a good game at all. But even the fact that he was in the box, this isn't a dig at Neil Taylor, but Neil Taylor just wouldn't be there.
Sure.
He wouldn't be that high up, would he? He's a defender.
No.
Whereas Targett is an attacking fullback. So we've talked about him giving us another dimension, and I think that just goes to show it. The fact that he was in the box, ready to take that ball. I'd go as far as to say horrific goalkeeping.
Really?
I think very bad.
I thought Ryan had a shaky game, like the drop
good
balls.
goalkeeper.
But he didn't have that kind of command. We talked about Heaton being a commanding presence. I didn't feel like the Brighton defence was happy totally, and a couple of spilt balls, and I just didn't see. And obviously beaten by Wesley for the disallowed goal as well. I just thought he was a bit poor, and that goal could be massively costly for them.
I mean, it reminded me a bit of my goalkeepers on FIFA when they decide they haven't got arms.
With a glitch.
They just don't go for the keep their arm down the side and just kind of dive out the way. It reminded me a little bit of that.
Excellent example. Yeah, so
people who play FIFA know what I mean. You've not played FIFA since '94.
Time to grow up. So Villa come from behind to win a Premier League game for the first time since December 2014.
In the Premier League.
In the Premier League.
Yeah. We must have done that in the Championship.
I did say the Premier League.
Oh, sorry.
I think. I'm
still thinking about you calling me Peter Pan.
And a massive win, first back-to-back Premier League wins as well since May 2015 under Sherwood. So a hugely important victory. One against a potential kind of lower half of the table relegation rival, potentially similar with Norwich, but also with the Manchester City and Liverpool games coming up. Very, very important to get points on the board.
Yeah, and I think we go into those games with not massive trepidation. Obviously, anyone could get beat by those teams. I see them both as free hits. but I do think we'll cause both teams problems. I'm not saying we'll win those games, but I do think we can cause both teams issues. From what I've seen over the last month or so from both teams, going into those two games though, you've picked up a point. Like you say, 3 is massive, and it kind of feels like a bonus because we scored so late, and you just didn't think it was going to come. I think we're in a good place. Losing the next 2 games wouldn't define our season.
No.
But anything we get, as I say, is a bonus, which again keeps the good feeling going, keeps the momentum going a little bit. I think we're in a great place, and without going into too much detail, like I ended up seeing a bit behind the scenes on the weekend with Dolan, and we ended up down in the tunnel after the game with the coaching staff and the manager, and you can just tell. You just tell what a place this is, what a transformation, what a great job Dean Smith and his coaching staff have done. They seem like phenomenal people, and they've just got it right. The club's getting a lot right at the moment, especially mainly on the football side. I'm talking here, which is it's always been other things are good, but the football side's not good. The football side is spot on. I think, and I can't praise them all highly enough for what they've done.
Yeah, Yak says here, Yak, which YA and then like 6 C's.
You could have just called him Jacob.
I feel like Jacob's too generic. Shots fired at anyone called Jacob.
Lucky to our cameraman and editor.
Yeah, is it good we finally got a win without playing great? So that kind of goes a little bit.
That's what I said earlier.
Yeah, it kind of points are really important at the end of the day. You know, you can play well all you like, but if you can play all right and play well at times and get all 3 points, then you've got to be happy with that. Yeah,
and home form's been pretty good. We lost our first home game of the season, but we haven't lost since. That's 2 wins, 2 draws and a defeat at home so far. It's not perfect, as you can tell, but there's something to build on. We're getting better. And we're making Villa Park a little bit of a fortress again, like a hard place to go. I felt the fans, I don't know what it was like in the whole end, because the whole end can be a completely different beast, but in the Trinity certainly, I don't know whether it was just a bit more jovial and light-hearted in there. Felt like they stayed with the team.
There was a bit of frustration, I think.
Did you have the guy in front of you just not smile ever?
Yeah, he was furious with the VAR. I mean, he wasn't the only one, but it was even Harahan that scored, and he was still furious.
Doesn't like him. Yeah, I mean, I still think I've been season ticket 20 odd years. I don't think I've ever seen him smile.
But yeah, I mean, there was a bit of frustration, I think, as we struggled to break Brighton down. Obviously, it came very, very late, so there was this kind of, come on, Villa, 10 men again kind of thing. And
it did feel like that. I got to say, I didn't think it was coming.
No.
I did not think it was coming at all. I don't know whether you did.
No, it's really hard to kind of... I felt frustrated. I felt like we were knocking on the door, but equally, like you say, Brighton had some chances as well.
I just think Brighton stifled us. I think sometimes you've got to give the opposition credit. The West Ham game against 10 men and the Arsenal game against 10 men, I thought we managed that poorly. It was really poor from us. I don't think this one was a case of us managing it poorly. I just think Brighton were good at what they were doing. Sometimes you've got to give the opposition credit. Yeah. And I think I was very impressed by Brighton.
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, I think they'll do well this season, but the kind of bottom half of the table, and even to an extent going into the top half a couple of times, it's so tight.
The league's weird.
Yeah, everyone can beat everyone.
It's a bit like the Championship.
So Villa sit 12th at the moment on 11 points, but you've got up to 7th on 12 points, and then
we're chasing Arsenal down in 5th, aren't we? 4 points off them.
Yeah, Newcastle have 8 points. So, a 4-point swing takes you from relegation up to kind of challenging for Europa League at the moment. Obviously, it's still early days, but you've got to get points on the board.
And we will. Yeah. We will. It's interesting to see where we are at Christmas.
I was asking the guys on fan cams, from the next 2 games, how many points would you be happy with? 1? 2?
I'd be delighted with 2.
Yeah.
I think, just being honest.
I think 1 is probably realistic.
I wanted Liverpool. I was speaking to Duke in the pub before the game. He was saying to me, and I feel the same, that kind of wanted Liverpool to keep that winning streak going. Because at some point they were going to drop points. You wanted, and maybe thought Villa could be that team.
Yeah.
Man U had a good game plan against them on Sunday, and if we do the same, it'd be nice if Salah didn't play.
Yeah.
He'd probably be back by then.
Sure.
Won't he? Man City's defenders seem to be coming back just in time to play. So I watched the first half of their game last night. And Atalanta caused them issues. I don't necessarily think it's a bad time to be playing City.
Right.
Again, I prefer if De Bruyne doesn't play, but there's never a great time to play those two, is there? But,
especially with Sterling banging in an 11-minute hat-trick.
I just think we'll go there and have a go. I'm not going to give my prediction. Don't want to give my prediction away for the Man City game because obviously we're doing a preview after this. But I think we'll give both a good game and we'll give a good account of ourselves. And I think at this stage of the team's development and the squad's development, I think that's all you can ask personally. Go there, have a go, and give a good account of yourself.
Yeah, when you're taking on,
I don't say it's getting battered.
When you're a newly promoted side and you're taking on first and second in back-to-back weeks, if you lose both of those games, you probably look at the fixtures at the start of the season and go, okay, yeah, we're probably going to lose those games, especially going away and that kind of thing. So, you know, if we can get a point or get 2 points or something better, then that's really good. But I don't think losing both of those games is going to derail us.
No, I don't want to dwell on it too much because obviously we want to talk about the preview. But I've got some thoughts into the Man City game, so make sure you tune into our match preview as well.
What a tease! Very nice.
If someone's really that excited about my opinions of the Man City game, I'll be surprised.
Absolutely. So a good weekend for Villa all round. The under-23s beat Fulham 1-0, which was good, and Kalinic, Chester, Hawes and Codger all playing decent lengths of time. So it's good for...
Saw a picture of James Chester with blood all over his face.
Oh, really?
Guy can't catch a break.
No. But he played 70 minutes and that's good for his recovery. So he continues to kind of rehab this kind of long-term injury.
Yeah, I want to see him back amongst it. It's difficult to see him getting ahead of Engels and Mings, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I want to see him back amongst it, Chester. It'd be good to see him in the shirt again at Villa Park.
Do you think Wolves on the bench?
In the Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so, because I think probably I don't know whether Engels is carrying a little bit of a knock at the moment. He's a top player. He really is.
There was a question about...
Carson might play that game.
There was a question about Mings always kind of going down with some sort of injury. It doesn't seem to hold him back ever, but you kind of worry a little bit that Mings might be kind of harbouring some sort of injury that...
No, this one wasn't at the weekend. He got stamped on his foot. Someone trod on his foot and he was just carrying that for the game, so he'll be fine for the week. It's not like it's a recurring injury. I think he just puts his body on the line the way he plays the game.
That's what I was going to say.
You're going to pick up little knocks. He was wincing a couple of times, wasn't he, in the game? But I understand it was from he just got a little stamp on his foot and he was struggling with that through the game.
I always hate to see Mings go down because I feel like centre back's such an important position, and bring somebody cold who's not been playing, not up to speed with the game. That just makes me feel a bit nervous. But good to hear that feedback. And the ladies continue. They got their first win in the cup, in the women's cup as well. A 3-1 win over Sheffield United. It all seems to be going quite well.
Yeah, I don't think we're massively interested in that cup.
No.
But I think we may have rested a few people for that game. It's all about the league, but good to get a bit of momentum and carry on. Yeah,
well, Mel Johnson, who scored 10 goals in 5 games, she didn't play, and we still put 3 in.
Yeah.
There was an 18-year-old goalkeeper who saved a penalty at the death as well. So it feels like there's... You kind of mentioned it earlier. Usually things going on well around the club, but not the first team. It
feels like the bit you care about, isn't it?
Feels like everything's clicking, and
it's very good, Tom.
It's a nice time to be. The Dementia Cafe opens today as well, which is... I mean, by the time you listen to this, the first session will have been all wrapped up, so hopefully that went well. But it's a good place for the club.
Yeah, happy times, and as I say, the next 2 games won't define our season and won't change what I think about the club and the direction it's heading in and what I think of the people around there. It's great. I
think it's reflected in the sales as well. Like you and I were talking, I'm going to try and get some tickets for the Southampton game near Christmas because my little sister's a Southampton fan, and I think I owe her a birthday present.
I don't think she should be sitting at the home end, Tom.
I think she'll be fine. She's a football fan, really.
Well, you've just outed her as a Southampton fan. Now, if anyone sees you sat with her, informing the steward, it should be taken out.
That's true. She'll wear a Southampton top underneath, but wrapped up.
No, Tom.
We'll get her in the Villa shop. I think she's open to a change. Like my dad. My dad's a full-on Villa now.
Full on Brexit, full on Villa.
But anyway, trying to get tickets is impossible. The Carabao Cup is now sold out as well against Wolves. Season ticket holders, the game is still free for season ticket holders. If you didn't know that, and you're a season ticket holder, now you do.
Nice gesture.
But yeah, so that's really good. But it's a good place to be, isn't it? The every game seems to be sold out, and Villa Park's rocking.
Yeah, I mean, you said that was your first game this season.
First game of the season, yeah.
It's good. Obviously, I mean, Dolan. I think that was Dolan's first trip to Villa Park this season. As well. I don't know whether you get a sense of the atmosphere being different to the last time you were there or whatever, but it just feels special at the moment.
It was quite good in the Championship when we were kind of doing well, and there was a good mood feeling about that. Obviously, comparing it to the last time we were in the Premier League, it's completely different.
Being back in the Premier League is such a nice feeling. It's massive and something I'll never take for granted again.
Even the kind of, it feels nicer on social media. There's so many posts about welcome to the Villa family, or if people are struggling and they put it out there. There's so many like Villa posts which say like, oh, you can talk to us, you can, and it just feels completely different now. And that kind of, like you say, is the whole club mentality. There's a change there.
Yeah, what a club.
What a club.
What a club.
Well, that's why Brexit Kev loves it.
Yeah.
He wants to be a part of it. I need to get him a ticket at some point. I've been threatening for ages, but I just can't get one.
No, it's hard. It's hard work. Away tickets, nightmare. Like, it's very, very hard work out there.
Yeah, that's it. We mentioned it earlier. I just wanted to touch on it. Gabby Agbonlahor did an interview with the Birmingham Mail, outed Remy Gard as his...
No, it wasn't with the Birmingham Mail, it was with the Sportsman.
Oh, was it?
Birmingham
Mail just took it. Right, sorry.
Pesky Dan Rollinson.
Yeah, that's it. Remy Gard outed as the worst manager, and he basically was like, nobody liked him. And it kind
of...
of...
how true that statement is, but Gabby definitely didn't like him. I know a few of the others didn't.
Did you see who he picked as his favourite manager?
My mate Martin.
Martin O'Neill, yeah. And his favourite player, Gareth Barry, as well, which might upset Stan Petrov, who was our mate now.
And still plays football with
him. Exactly.
He did say, to be fair, that's going to upset Petrov, Delph, Young.
Yeah.
I think that's a good shout, Gareth Barrow.
It's hard to
consistent.
Hard to disagree, isn't it?
Yeah, he's great. He was a great player, Barrow.
Anything?
Still, he's a good player, probably.
We're hitting an hour bang on. That's quite nice. I mean, we talked about football for a long time.
I know, and we need to. We've got to, obviously, we've only got 27 minutes left in the booth, and we've got to record a preview. So we need to get on with it.
We do. So.
No time to talk about lives or nonsense today.
Rabbits, indeed. So another good win for Aston Villa. Let's carry that on to Man City, shall we? We will try our best. I won't be in the booth next week. I've got an international trip that I have to take care of.
You take a lot of trips, you do.
I do.
A lot of trips with work. Very
hard,
exciting,
man.
Isn't it?
It's not that exciting when you get there.
I've been away with work once in 12 years to Belgium. So
this is going to be an interesting one, but I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah.
Bore you with it.
No, well, we've got a special guest coming in to do the podcast. I won't reveal too much.
No, it's going to be good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I wish I was.
People are going to be expecting an ex-player or manager now. It's not that.
Definitely not that. But yeah, should we say that we were close to getting a couple of ex-players in the last week? We got very close, but it's been rearranged. So we're hoping to maybe get something in the next.
Rearranged very late.
Yeah, very very late. In the next couple of weeks or months, we'll hopefully be able to bring you something a little bit special as well. But yeah, all good in the Villa sphere.
Let's get on with the preview.
Absolutely. All right. Enjoy. We're going to do the preview. Enjoy Man City if you're going, and up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.